Hi there, guys. It's Jennifer here. Just wanted to follow up on our beautiful beginnings that we made on how to fly without being taken off your path, without being distracted by the stuff of life. And I want you to know we're talking here from beautiful Orlando, Florida. There's where I'm going to be right after I talk to you. So, I knew it was time to do part two because something happened yesterday. It was so cool. A couple of things happened, and they were right along the lines of this part two conversation about how to live an unconditionally happy life. In other words, no matter what's going on around you or what's happening with the people you love, how do you stay in that unconditional flow of life, right? How do you actually not let your fulfillment or your sense of happiness or your sense of peace, or how do you actually stay in that groove? How do you not give your power away to circumstances? So I want to share a story with you that happened actually yesterday. It was really interesting. And hi Betty, hi Nancy, and just love you guys. Thanks everybody for showing up. Tell some friends. This is going to be a juicy one, I can tell you. So what happened to me yesterday is we were in, hearts right back to you too, guys. We were we were hanging out with some flight school people. I happened to be in San Francisco, was going to go and see my accountant, and I was hanging out with some people who are taking flight school. We went up to north of California, or of San Francisco, to the top of this beautiful mountain. It was absolutely stunning. And we what happened to us was the supreme, let's say that the most amazing example of how we give our power away to people, circumstances, outside forces that take us away from continuing to be in our flow. They distract us. Have you guys ever noticed that? Have you ever noticed that something going on with someone else, or whatever is happening over there with someone you love, or sort of expectations of other people start to, and when they don't fulfill on the expectations, what happens is we get really upset because we can't understand how they don't get it. You know what I mean? Or what happens is someone we love is having a really hard time, and we've been carrying them for so long that when they're having a hard time, we get really pissed off at them because they should be taking care of themselves, or we get really frustrated, or we get really sad, or we start carrying them again, and it takes us out of our path of happiness. You understand what I'm picking up, what I'm putting down? So what happened was this. We were down, we took this drive. Two of the girls that we were with, in this forest in California near this hill that we went to, two of the girls that we were with needed to get out of there by 12:30. So they had in their mind, and we had talked about them being able to get back to their meeting by 2:00. And this forest was, of course, filled with redwoods and fairies and divas, and I mean, it was the most extraordinary forest. In that forest, it's like the world disappeared, and one of the girls who had a meeting at 2:00 didn't bring her phone with her, and she was probably the one with the most important meeting, right? So she didn't bring her phone to see what time it was. So we held it all loosely, and there was sort of like a metaphysical, or we all sort of assumed there was an understanding, but the understandings we had were very different. So we get to the end of the path, walking through this forest, having deep conversations, letting ourselves be infused by the wisdom of nature, and absolutely having this remembering that that all is well, and that we're surrounded by, tree beings that remember for us when we forget that everything is being given to us. So powerful, powerful. We walk out of there. We get in the car, we look at our, phones or whatever for the time, and of course we're late. And a conversation ensues. Now remember, this is the context is that we're not in flight school. It's not an official meeting. It's actually just getting together and activating each other and having a great conversation. However, one of the ladies says, I'm late. I thought you were going to take the time, but no one had agreed to take the time. Or, since I had facilitated flight school, Jennifer, aren't you supposed to be keeping count or whatever? I don't know. That's an interesting expectation, though. And then there was a woman who was taking us there, and she was driving. Shouldn't she be keeping the time? And then there was a bunch of projections that got made on other people, and we started looking and going, wow, look at how we be a victim of the assumptions and the expectations. See, consciousness loves clarity. And so when we start placing our happiness over there on other people, or our fluidity over there on other people, what happens is you're almost guaranteed to become a victim. Have you ever had this? A victim of, we think it's a victim of their inability to, well, in this case, keep time, or in this case, hold the space for everyone getting home in time, or, we place the reasons for why things should turn out on someone over there, and we don't listen to our own messages. We don't listen to our own instincts. We co-opt our path over to someone else, when really your piece of the puzzle of heaven on earth is directly coming through you. And if you want something to turn out, you have to be responsible and have clarity for how you want the direction to go. It's just speaking it out loud. So what we did is we said, oh, this is really funny. We're 4 grown women who are all running businesses and, very moving lots of energy in our own right, and have families, and very resourceful people. And isn't it interesting that we confused love with carrying? We expected each other to carry, or whatever it looked like. And then we placed expectations on the collective of us, instead of standing in our own sovereignty and asking for what we needed. I said, wouldn't it have been interesting before this walk to actually say to each other, hey, wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't it be awesome if someone could keep time and we could get back to the car in time? And we all made an agreement that the collective agreed to, based on each person's individual sovereignty, instead of placing expectations on people outside of you. So one of the ways to keep out of your flow and out of happiness and out of fulfillment is to have expectations of other people without creating clarity around the assumptions and the expectations you have, such that everything can flow. Now, in the end, of course, there is a greater flow. And having that conversation in flight school, we have things like that happen on purpose so that we can have these powerful conversations, and we embody these new ideas, because the idea of something seemingly going off kilter, there's a higher order to it. It wasn't really going off kilter. We actually had the opportunity to get at the deepest core of us, how we become victims of others and victims of circumstances. So it's a very, very profound discussion. The other story that I wanted to share is that my sweetie pie and I were driving to do a Facebook Live for a private group that of people who've done Get Out of Your Way. It was a wicked awesome conversation, but we were supposed to be already at this house that I'm at right now, and we weren't. So we had to pull over at a Walgreens and sit in. So at this point, Adam's supposed to be the chef for this retreat. So he can't get to his house, and I have to sit still for an hour. And again, he could definitely feel like a victim of the circumstances because I'm driving with him. And the second thing that happens is that after I do this hour long, which was extremely powerful, Adam and I are driving, and I can see that he's working it through in his head. He's like, I had an expectation that we were going to be at the house. That was going to ground me. Oh, it's all about Jennifer, or whatever the case may be. And then he instantly owned. It took him about 5 minutes. He powerfully got in his body. So this is what to do. Adam was an amazing example of what to do when you have expectations of others, or when you have expectations of your life, and there was no clarity and it wasn't met, and then you blame the other person for your lack of happiness because they didn't meet your expectations, right? So what he did is he said, you know what, Jennifer? I am really committed to living an unconditional life and to being in my heart unconditionally. I love and adore you. And next time, let's make sure we have a conversation of clarity on what's going on. And I said, well, the universe threw us a bit of a curveball here. And he said, yeah, it's true. He said, he said to me, what this is showing me, I think that what's happening isn't perfect, but the people that you love are the people that can take you off track the most. And of course, we adore each other. And he said, what this is showing me is actually how far I've come. So not only am I not letting this incident not take me off track, I'm actually going to allow this incident to teach me that if this had been a year ago or 2 years ago or 3 years ago, this would have taken me out for at least 24 hours. How my expectations and what life should look like and what our relationship should look like mattered more than actually the love that's in it. And it's my honor to make sure that you're in a safe place to be able to do your Facebook Live. And I love you. And I'm so grateful that the universe had the person that I love the most have something happen that would allow me to see how far I've come. And this kind of an incident could only happen with you. And I love you so much for being that person. Right? So what a turnaround, isn't it? So my challenge today is, in the places where you're having expectations, can you be actually grateful for what those situations are showing you? Can you say, I'm sorry for when you've pointed blame, when what's showing up in your life is exactly happening for you? It can only be a vibrational match for exactly what you've ever wanted. Is there someone you need to say, I'm sorry to, who you've placed expectations on? Or a situation that you need to reconcile your relationship with it because it's actually providing you clarity? So, expectations are one of the greatest happiness killers, fulfillment killers. Instead of letting yourself be served by the situation that's presenting and be shown and remember that it's all happening for you, we place blame on circumstances and people. And we have expectations not met such that we can be distracted from our path. I challenge you today to find a way to not allow those things to take you off your path, because after all, you are a member of the Heaven on Earth construction crew. All right, and finally, what I want to share is, what I just am so guided to share is this, that tonight we have a monthly wake-up call, and the title of that monthly wake-up call, which I will post the link for the monthly wake-up call I'll pin it at the top of the comments for this Facebook Live in a few moments. That monthly wake-up call is all about how to find peace in this lifetime, in your body, in your individual life, but actually how do we use that to bridge to peace in the world in general. That monthly wake-up call is $33, and people from all over the world are joining it, and we'd love to have you along. You can go to thewideawakening.com and also search for monthly wake-up calls, and you'll find them and you can register there. So love to all of you. I hope you come on the monthly wake-up call. If you haven't yet signed up for our weekly activations, you go to wideawakening.com and you can sign up for them in the upper right-hand corner, and you'll be a part of a free program that we do every single week. So love and hugs and mwah to all of you. Thank you all for all of your comments. Thanks, Betty Lou. Thanks, Amanda. Thanks, all of you, for being here. Love and adore. Let's keep being the Heaven on Earth construction crew that we are. After all, you know, I've been catalyzed enough by what's going on in the world. Let's just rock this thing. That's what we're here for, you guys. Okay. Mwah! Bye, everyone.